من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you everyone for being on time. Just so you're aware, we do have a class running from 6 till 7, which is why there's a bit of time in the transition, which is why we usually start a few minutes late, but not to worry. So I'm going to select A407. If you can read the prayer that I'm going to do for me. Assalamu alaikum, A407. So could you read the top prayer for me that's been highlighted, please?
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري.
Okay, Jazakallah. So just over here, remind us what the what's just above the bar. So over here. What's the W line above the bar?
I forgot.
Begins with an S. Can you think of the name? So it's a shadda just above the bar, okay? What do we do when we have a shadda appear above a letter? Any ideas?
No.
So with a shadda, we put extra emphasis on the letter. So we hold that sound for at least sort of 2 seconds. So as we're reading this first verse, Rabbish rahli, okay? Rabbish rahli. So more emphasis on the bar. Could you read that again for me, please?
Rabbish rahli.
Excellent. And just over here, could you just let me know which letter this one is, just after the Sad?
Dal.
Dal, excellent. So, Rabbi shrah li sadri.
Rabbi shrah li sadri.
And the final verse again for me, please.
Wa yassir li amri.
Yeah, excellent. Okay. Just over here, remind me again of the sign. Do you know what it's called?
Is it Mad Sagir?
Yeah, excellent. And how many seconds do we hold it to?
2 seconds.
More than 2 seconds, so at least 3 seconds on Mad Sagir, okay? Okay, Jazakallah. Yeah, so I know that there are quite a few messages in the chat. So yes, as one of the students mentioned, the test today has been postponed. The reason being that it was agreed between teachers that we should spend a bit more time on revision for this test. So we've prepared some revision slides which we're going to be going through. I won't yet announce the new date for the test. It will be sometime next week, but we're going to see how we do with the revision, and then we'll let you know either in tomorrow's class or the class on Friday what the new date will be. And the test will be for the whole hour. Someone's asked, A427. So yeah, so this week will be spent continuing with revision with some different material that the team has produced, which will inshallah be helpful to you all for the actual test. So I was speaking last to A407, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, great. So stay with me, A407. I'm going to pull up verses from the Holy Quran. So I know that from Friday's class, you were looking at Surah Qaf. So in case anyone didn't know, the test will be based on Surah Qaf. We don't know which portion, which is why it's really important for you to be reciting this at home, preferably out loud so you can hear if you're making any mistakes or struggling with any parts. So Surah Qaf is what you are studying with the help of a recording in the last class. So I think you did up until verse number 11 in the last class. So we'll just carry on until we reach the end of the ruku. Someone's asked if some students don't get to do the test on the day, will they come another day? Yeah, so by the end of our program, every single student should have been assessed at some point. So don't worry too much if you don't get picked next week. You will eventually be assessed at some point. And what's the website do we recite on? I'm not sure what that means exactly. You should be reciting directly from the Holy Quran. So as I mentioned, Surah Qaf is the surah we're focusing on, so please use that for your revision. If you're talking about where to access the revision materials, Talimul-Quran.org.uk, log in using your username. Just wanted to, I don't know if the teacher on Friday announced, but the password is actually Talimul-2 with a capital T. So just to clarify that, it's your full ID, nqc.org.uk. You can either go there and click the link, or you can go directly to talimulquran.org.uk. Log in with your ID, password Tardil2 with a capital T. So hopefully that's clarified that. So we have Surah Qaf. Before we start with verse 12, I just wanted to clarify. So there was one point that came up in the recording, which your teacher on Friday corrected. So that was about pausing over here. So in the recording, the recording stopped here and then started again from here. So we did check with the head teacher with this, and he confirmed that this stopping over here at فوقهم, that would have been not the best place to stop. So he recommended, because I know that quite a few students were asking questions about pausing last week. So he said that it's generally safe to stop and then start again wherever you see the waw or the fa. So for example, over here, generally speaking, in most cases, it's safe to do that. Another example is if you stopped here and then carried on فَقَالَ الْكَافِرُونَ. But again, don't worry too much about the pausing, because you're not going to be assessed on that. You're not going to be assessed on where you stop and if the meaning makes sense. The main thing that you're assessed on is covering the rules that we've been looking at for the past few weeks. N492, I'm not sure why you have a problem with the screen. I think it's visible to everyone else, so I'm not too sure what you can do. And A416, the exam will be at some point next week. I will let you know the date as soon as possible. Okay, so back to verse number 12. So if A407, could you please read from رزقا للعباد?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رزقا للعباد عبادي وأحيينا به بلدة ميتة كذلك الخروج.
Okay, just stop there. Okay, so I just wanted to highlight here. I think, so you stopped and then you restarted and carried on, I think. So over here, it's best when you see in the lam alif, it's better if you can continue and not pause over here. Okay? Over here as well, so we have the dal, and what's the sign just above the dal?
Fatah.
Fatha. And how many seconds?
I think 1.
Yeah, exactly. Excellent. So 1 second. I think you prolonged it a bit more than 1 second. So just be mindful of that. So وَأَحْيَيْنَا بِهِ بَلْدَةً مَيْتًا. That was the next thing that I highlighted. So you're joining over here, ta marbuta, which is carrying the tanween, and you're joining it directly with the mim mushaddad. So over here, make sure, remember we learned a lot about mim mushaddad, how we have to put extra emphasis because of the shadda on it, and how we produce a slight nasal sound when we're joining it. So could you just read from baldatan again up to Mayta, please?
Baldatan mayta.
Okay, so a bit more emphasis when joining the ta marbuta with the meme. So dam mayta.
Baldatan mayta.
بلدة ميتة.
Baldatan mayta.
And a bit more time on the meme joining with the ya sakin because it's a lean letter, so we prolong for 2 seconds. بلدة ميتة.
Baldatan mayta.
Okay, excellent. And just over here, so again, you have the bar sign, so it's okay for you to stop over there. So I think you carried on when you were reading, but if you want, it's a lot easier for you if you want to take your breath and just stop at Meita, okay?
Okay.
Okay, and I'd just like to remind a number of students in the chat, it is very distracting. Please only ask questions that you really need to ask if you don't understand something or if you're having technical issues. And you also don't need to tell people to stop talking because then it just adds to the conversation. So any questions you have, any points that you want to raise, please keep them very brief because it's hard to concentrate on a number of things and also read the chat at the same time. For those asking to read, I'm glad you're very enthusiastic, but we are trying to pick different students this time. So it depends how recently you read, because I'm trying to pick students that haven't read in at least the last 2 weeks. So hopefully that clears up. So yeah, please stick to only raising any genuine questions in the chat. Jazakumullah. Okay, so I'm just going to play the recording just for that particular verse, and if A407, if you can just listen to that.
Okay.
فأنبتنا به جنات لها طلع نضيد رزقا للعباد وأحيينا به بلدة ميتا.
So A407, did you understand the point especially about more emphasis on the mim mushadda?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, excellent.
كذلك الخروج.
Okay, great. Okay, Jazakallah A407. So I'm going to put you on mute now.
Okay.
And let's have A428. Assalamu alaikum, A428. Trying to unmute this person, but they don't seem to. Yeah, for some reason, A428, I'm struggling to unmute you. So let me try A430. Assalamu alaikum, A430.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Are you able to see the screen okay? And can you hear everything?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So could you please carry on from verse number 13, please, from كذبت.
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم كذبت قبلهم قوم نوح وأصحاب الرس والثمود.
Okay, Jazakallah. So just over here, again, a similar sort of point. So you've got the ha over here. Do you know what the sign is just beneath the ha? Do you know what it's called? So this is kasratain, or the tanween of kasra, okay? And when we're joining a tanween sound with the waw, which carries the shadda, waw mushaddad, we're going to pause slightly on it, okay? And get a bit of emphasis to it. So, nuhin wa. Can you try that for me? Nuhin wa. Excellent. And then just carrying on. So, wa ashabur rassi. Excellent. So why are we putting extra emphasis on these two words over here? Any ideas? What's the sign?
Because they have shadda. So
Excellent. So we've got the shadda above the ra and the sin. So we're putting more emphasis. Nuhin wa ashabur rassi. Okay? Okay, well done. Just over here, can you recite this letter for me, please? Pronounce this letter. So, do you remember in the lesson, I think it would have been maybe not last week, but the week before, you started lesson 3 and you were making the difference between the sin and the tha. So remember, the tha is like the word thin in English. So, وَثَمُودَ. Excellent. And because we're pausing here at the end of the verse, the dal has a dhamma, but do you know what sign will replace the dhamma when you pause? So it would be a sukoon, okay? So dhamma would be replaced by sukoon, okay. Just remind me again of your ID, please.
8430.
A430, okay, excellent. So Jazakallah A430. So I'm just going to put you on mute. I'm going to try and play the recording again. I think some are saying that it's quite squeaky, but let's see how it plays. كذبت قبلهم قوم نوح وأصحاب الرس وثمود. Hopefully that was clear. If it wasn't, hopefully in the recording it will come out clearly. But if you have any other sound issues, please do let me know. A444, you said you had a question about pausing. Could you please just type your question in the chat? That would be helpful. Okay, moving to the next student. So I'm going to select, let's try, yeah. So A428, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. So, could you recite for me from here, from Mu'adun?
Yeah.
Okay, off you go with A'udhu Billah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وعاد وفرعون ونور
Okay, Jazakallah. So over here, if you're going to stop, this is your sign of the verse, and you have lutin is the word. How would you stop? How would you read it if you're pausing here?
Lut.
Yep, excellent. So the tanween of kasra is being replaced by the sukoon. Well done. Over here, so again we have a similar point. So we have the dal, and on the dal we have the tanween of dhamma, okay? And when we're joining it with the waw mushaddad, we're going to pause on it slightly and produce a slight nasal sound, okay? So we would read it as wa'adun wa. Can you read it for me?
وعاد
Excellent. عاد
عاد
Yeah, excellent. Jazakallah. Okay, well done. And you are A428, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, Jazakallah. A428. I'm going to put you on mute now. Next, I'm going to choose N455. Okay, Assalamualaikum N455.
Assalamualaikum.
How are you today?
Good.
Excellent. So could you carry on from here from what Ashabul is?
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وأصحاب الأيكة وقوم تبع كل كذب الرسل فحق وعيد.
Excellent, Jazakillah. So over here, there were 3 points, not too serious points, but again, important, especially for the exam. So this one over here on the Qaf, what sign is on the Qaf?
الفتى.
Excellent. And over here on the Lam?
الفتى.
Excellent. So how many seconds on a basic fatha stroke?
1 second.
Yeah, excellent. So just remember not to prolong it too much. So wa ashabul aikati, you prolonged it a little bit more than 1 second. So just keep it at 1 second, okay?
Okay.
Okay, Jazakallah. And over here, could you just read this from waqawmu? If you could read it again for me, please.
Okay. وقوم تبع.
Excellent, well done. So you read that correctly. So over here, just remembering this is a lean letter. So waqawmu, 2 seconds, and slightly rounded sound when we're joining the qaf with fatha with the waw sakin. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, excellent, well done. Other than that, that was quite good. That was recited quite well. But just pay attention to the basic strokes because it's a very basic error and you don't want to fall down on those mistakes. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Jazakillah, and you are N455, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So N455 is muting. So I'm going to ignore the chat now, purely because there's unnecessary discussion going on there. Maybe I'll come back to it towards the end of the lesson. Maybe I won't, because there is really nothing useful, no useful discussion being done there by certain individuals. So I'm going to ignore it for a while, and I'm going to just answer the question from N487. So N487, you asked what is a lean letter. We're actually going to cover this in the revision slides that we're going to do for the rest of this week. But let me just see. See if I have an example over here. Okay. What I'll do is N487, I'll come back to that. We will be covering it in future lessons anyway. There was an example over here. So this over here, hopefully you can all see the screen. So this is mathwaya or mathwaj, if you're pausing. So this is not a lean letter in itself, but if you were to remove the alif, just imagine that the alif here wasn't actually there, and it was just the waw with a fatha joining with the ya sakin. That would be an example of a lean letter. So the lean letters are ya sakin and waw sakin, and they have to be preceded by a letter which carries the stroke of fatha. So the letter before the waw or ya sakin has to carry a fatha for it to be a lean letter, and you basically prolong it for 2 seconds. So this isn't a lean letter purely because there's an alif coming between, but if the alif was missing, it would be read as mathway if you are pausing, or so mathway if you are pausing. But don't worry too much about that. We're going to cover it later on in the future lessons anyway. I think a lot of you will know the rule, but perhaps not be familiar with the terminology. So again, not to worry too much. Let's continue then just up until the end of the ruku, and then we'll move on to the revision slides. So this time I'm going to select N460, if I can find them. Yep. Okay, Assalamu alaikum, N460.
Walaikum salam.
How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. So could you carry on, please, from verse number 16, please, just so we can finish the ruku.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أفعينا بالخلق الأول بل هم في لبس من خلق جديد.
Excellent. That was really, really well read. And I especially liked where you tried really hard to get those ayn sounds. So really well done over there. And also well done over here. So you joined the scene with the kasratain very well with the meme. Could you just read that again from Labsin, just for the benefit of everyone else to listen?
Labsin min.
Yeah, excellent. So slightly pausing and a bit of a nasal sound. Labsin min.
Labsin.
Excellent, well done. And the only point that I picked up was over here. So with the waw, it's sort of a soft W sound rather than a V sound. So not avvali, but awwali. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So bil khalqil awwal.
بالخلق الأول.
Excellent. And could you explain to your classmates, you're pausing over here, so what change is happening on the lam with the kasra if you're pausing?
The kasra will change into a sukoon.
Excellent, well done. That's really good. Okay, Jazakallah. And you are N460, yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so Jazakallah N460. I'm just going to play the remainder of the recording, just so we can have a quick listen to the rest of the ruku.
وعاد وفرعون وإخوان لوط وأصحاب الأيكة وقوم تبع كل كذب الرسل فحق وعيد أفعينا بالخلق الأول بل هم في لبس من خلق جديد.
Okay, so hopefully that was clear. Again, please go back to the recordings and have a listen to the recording of the verse itself, and also look at what points have been highlighted for yourselves and for your classmates. Again, please do not use the chat for unnecessary conversations. I'm just trying to, the thing is, when people type unnecessarily, it becomes very difficult to find out what's actually a genuine question or a genuine issue. Okay, so I'm going to have to leave that for now. Okay, so that is Surah Qaf, first ruku done. Again, please keep going over this surah in particular because your examiners have been very kind in letting you know in advance what the test material will be. So it's not too long, only about 3 rukus long. So please practice that at home. So that is done. So we're going to move now to the revision material that I was talking about. So we have 2 different slideshows that we're going to be focusing on before the examination. So this one is rules of waqf, 10 various cases. And this is very much covering all of the points that were raised in lesson number 2, where we looked at different examples of what is to be done on words when we decide to pause. So we are looking at pretty much what we've covered already, but again, as this is a revision class, hopefully this will be useful to many of you. So I'm going to select student, let's have a look, N470. For some reason N470 doesn't have a mic. So let me try N449. Assalamu alaikum. N449? N449, can you hear me? Don't think N449 is there. Let's try. Okay, N454, assalamu alaikum. N454, can you hear me? Or if N454 isn't there, A431? No, again, not there. Okay, let me try. Okay, A431, assalamu alaikum. A431, are you there? No. Okay. N466. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam. How are you today, N466?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. So looking at the very first slide, are you able to see the screen okay? Is everything clear?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So can you explain, looking at this slide, what is the sort of practice when we see words which end with either a fatha, kasra or dhamma? If we're pausing, how are we going to correctly pause on those words?
So, like.
So in first example, yeah.
So, zalika, if you were going to pause there, you would do zalik.
Excellent. And in the second and third examples?
Yom.
Yeah, excellent. So what's happening to the change in the stroke on yomi?
You're joining the waw and the meme.
So no, you're doing that exactly. But when you're pausing, what's the change in the stroke of the kasra when you pause? What's it replaced with?
Is it sukoon?
Sukoon. Excellent, well done. So what you can see in all of these 3 examples is that the words which end in the fatha, dhamma or kasra, they are going to take the sukoon sign in. Okay? Okay, so let's move. I'm going to come back to this one later on, but if we move to case number 2. So looking at this example, we have the noon, and what 2 things are above the noon?
Fish and a
The little W begins with an S.
is it I forgot.
So the little W is the shadda sign, and we have the pesh or the dhamma, which is what we call it, above the noon. So over it says, make the last letter mute when it carries the fatha, kasra or dhamma along with the shadda. Okay, so fatha, dhamma or kasra coming on the last letter along with the shadda will become mute. So in other words, it would take the sukoon sign. Okay, but what you have to bear in mind is particularly when it carries the shadda, we still want to manifest the sound of the shadda, and especially in the case of noon and mim mushaddad. So remember, we went, if we look at our very first lesson, we spent a lot of time on looking at the shadda letters. So noon and mim mushaddad, with a gunna sound and emphasis on it for at least 2 seconds. So even when we are pausing, we have to make sure that we really give proper attention to the shadda and the gunna sound which comes when you have noon or mim mushaddad. So could you have a go at reading it for me when you're pausing over here?
Okay. Yazun.
A bit more emphasis. So yazun.
Yazun.
Yeah, excellent. And if you could have a go at this example for me over here. So just read it as you would continuously first.
Nabiyyu.
Yeah, so it's an-nabiyyu over here because you're joining the alif.
Okay. An-nabiyyu.
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 Well done. And if you're pausing, so the dhamma is going to become a sukoon, how would you read it then?
An-nabiy.
Excellent, well done. So again, we want slight emphasis on the ya because we have the shadda. An-nabi.
An-nabi.
Not B, because then it would become a letter of prolongation. We're not prolonging it, we're just making sure that we have the emphasis from the shadda. An-nabi.
An-nabi.
Excellent, Jazakillah. That's very well done. So do you understand the first 2 cases quite clearly?
Yes.
Okay, well done. So summarize this one for me, please, with generally what would happen if you have fatha, kasra or dhamma at the end of a word.
Zalika.
Yep, so what's the change you're going to bring on the signs?
Instead of the fatha, you're gonna put the sukoon.
Excellent. So fatha, dhamma or kasra, we are going to put the sukoon. And summarize the second slide as well for me, please.
Yazunnu.
Well done. And what's the change again happening over here with fatha, kasra or dhamma along with the shadda? What's the change?
You're changing the fatha, kasra, or dhamma to the sukoon.
Excellent.
And
What do you have to remember?
You have
Especially with the shadda.
You have to prolong it like a bit.
Yeah, so not so much prolong, but we want to remember that we have the shadda sign, and in addition, it's the noon mushaddad in this example. So we want to make sure we have the ghunna sound as well. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, excellent. So you are N466, yeah?
Yeah.
So N466 is now muted. I'm going to select N482. Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum assalam. How are you today, N482?
I'm fine, Jazakallah. How are you?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. So, do you understand the first 2 cases so far?
Yes.
Okay, brilliant. So, moving to case number 3, can you explain to your classmates what's this sign on the ha and the ha over here as well?
So on the first one, it's the inverse dhamma.
So that's the second one, not the first one. The first one is
The vertical kasra.
Excellent. And then the second one, we have the inverse dhamma or the vertical dhamma. So, so this is saying make the last letter mute when it carries either the vertical kasra or the inverse dhamma. So what does making it mute mean? What's the sign replacing those two original ones? So we are changing it to a, what's this? Okay, sukoon. Excellent, well done. So read this as you would continuously.
Rasulihi.
Yeah, and when pausing.
Rasulih.
Excellent, well done. And this one, if you can read this for me.
Yarahu.
Well done. And the next one.
Yarah.
Excellent, that's really good. And if we move to case number 4 then. So this is specifically with 2 strokes. So we have one is kasratain and one is dhammatain. Can you explain to the rest of the class what these 2 signs are? Kasratain first of all, which letter is carrying the kasratain?
It's the
So we're looking for 2 strokes above or below a letter.
It's underneath the meme.
Excellent. So kasratain is basically the tanween of kasra. Okay, so we have the double kasra underneath the noon. So if you're reading it continuously, how are you reading it?
Makhtuman.
Well done. And if you're going to pause, how are you going to read it?
Makhtum.
Well done. So you're changing the kasratain to which stroke above the meme?
A sukoon.
Excellent. So looking at the second example, if you can read it continuously.
Qur'anu.
Qur'anun.
Qur'anun.
And if you're going to pause, again, it's going to take the sukoon. So how would you read it?
Qur'an.
Excellent, well done. And now looking at this example, read it continuously.
Ma'dudatin.
Well done. And if you're pausing, again, the ta will take the sukoon. So how would you say it?
Ma'dudat.
Excellent, well done. Ma'dudat.
Ma'dudat.
Well done. And finally, so we have final example with kasratain.
Ma'in.
Yep. Ma'in.
Ma.
Excellent. And again, what's the change happening with the kasratain?
Sukoon.
Excellent, well done. So can you summarize this rule for the rest of your classmates? So what happens when you have a word and the last letter has a kasratain or dhammatain? What's going to happen to the word if you're pausing?
It's gonna turn into a sukoon and you're gonna say it like Makhtum.
Excellent, well done, really good. So you are N466, yeah?
No, and N482.
And N482. Is she with you at the moment?
No.
Oh, sorry, you're N482, sorry. Okay, so you're N482, that's fine, Jazakallah. So I'm going to mute you. And this time I'm going to select A416. A416.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Are you understanding the lesson so far?
Yes.
Okay, well done. Could you tell me what this lesson or this case is talking about? What's the scenario?
I can't hear you properly.
Okay, let me see if I can speak up. So could you tell your classmates what's this case about? What are the changes that are going to happen on a letter which carries kasratain or dhammatain? What's going to happen if you pause there? So we have here, if you read this as you would normally.
Mudge.
This is the kha because the dot is above. So this is makh.
مختوم
Excellent. Makhtuman.
مختوم.
So remember, we have over here, we have the waw sakin, showing the sukoon, so waw sakin. And before the waw sakin, what is the sign that's being carried on the ta? What's the stroke, sorry? What's the stroke?
Is Dhamma.
Dhamma, excellent. So because of the scenario here, this is waw madda, which means you're prolonging for 2 seconds. It's a waw sakin, and before it we have a letter which carries the dhamma. So you need to prolong it for a little bit longer. So read it again for me.
Majtum.
Again, that was good prolongation, but you read this letter wrong again. So this is the kha, remember, above. So read it again for me.
Maktum.
Yeah, excellent. Well done. Okay, so let's move to case number 5. So in case number 5, so bear in mind the last two were about kasratain or dhammatain. The reason fathatain is different is because there's a slightly different rule for this. So before we saw that the change in the stroke means that the final letter will carry the sukoon. In fathatain, you have 2 different changes, but essentially the end result is that you will have the 2-second elongation. So if we look at the first example over here, can you just read it for me in continuous recitation?
Abwaban.
Little bit longer. So remember over here again, the alif, it's the alif madda because it's preceded by a letter which has fatha. So 2 seconds over here. So a little bit longer, please.
Abwaban.
Well done. Not too long, just for 2 seconds. Abwaban.
Abwaban.
Well done. So what we see from this rule here, the fathatain, it's going to change into the alif madda. So we're just going to read it very simply. We won't have the tanween anymore. We'll just prolong for 2 seconds. Abwaba.
Abwaba.
Well done. So over here in the second scenario, we have, if you can read it for me, please.
Tuwan.
Not too hard because there's no shadda on the waw. A little bit softer. Tuwan.
Tuwan.
Well done. And what's happening in the change over here? So read it how you would if you were pausing.
Tuwa.
Well done. So you have the fathatain in this example, and it's changing to the waw with the vertical fatha. So these are the 2 scenarios. So either the fathatain will be changed into the alif madda, or it will be replaced by the vertical fatha. But essentially, what you need to remember in particular is that it will be 2 seconds of elongation. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay, brilliant. Could you read the next example for me?
Nisaan.
Nisa'an.
Bisa'a.
Well done. So what's happening here? What's the change here with the tanween, fathatain on the hamza?
You have to change it to I forgot the name for that.
So that would be, so just whilst I'm talking, do have a read of the notes as well. So this is becoming vertical fatha, yeah? So the fathatain or the tanween of fatha on the hamza will change into a vertical fatha. So how many seconds is that?
2 seconds.
Excellent, well done. And the final example, please.
Musaban.
So this letter here, what's this letter in the middle? It's the same as the first letter at the beginning of the word.
Okay. Musaman.
Musamman.
Musaman.
So remember, here, we're not only going to think about how we change it. So the change will be the vertical fatha on the meme, but we also have to bear in mind that we have the shadda on the meme. So if we go back to over here, remember when you have the the letter of Noon or Mim Mushaddad especially, we have to remember to really emphasize even when we're pausing. So more emphasis on the Mim again, please.
Musamma man.
Musamman.
Musamma.
Excellent, well done. So again, what's the sign up here?
Vertical fatha.
Well done, very good. So now that we've looked at that, this is a third thing to bear in mind. So the first point was we have a separate rule for kasratain and dhammatain. They are going to change into sukoon. The next point was the separate rule for fathatain, where it changes to either alif madda or the vertical fatha. So with fathatain, you will have 2 seconds of elongation if you're pausing there. Third rule, again related to this set of 3. So we have the fathatain on any letter will always change to a vertical fatha or alif madda, but this rule will not be applied to ta marbuta. So we have over here ta marbuta. So ta marbuta is a very special letter. It's got rules for itself entirely. So what you have to remember is whatever stroke comes on the ta marbuta, whether it's a dhamma, kasra, fatha, dhammatain, fathatain, kasratain, whatever stroke is coming above it, when you pause there, it will be replaced with a sukoon. So could you please read it for me continuously, the first example?
Walhijarutu ratu.
Well done. And if you are going to pause and we put the sukoon replacing the dhamma, how do you think you will change it?
Walhijara.
Excellent, well done. And if you could read the next few examples for me as well, please.
Wassalati.
Well done. And if you're pausing?
Wassalah.
Excellent. And the next one?
Rahbaniyata.
Well done. And pausing?
Rahbaniyah.
Well done. And this one over here? This is ghain, remember?
Ghabaratun.
Well done. And if you're pausing?
Ghabarah.
Well done. Next one?
Tijara.
If you're continuing how you're reading it?
Tijaratan.
Well done. And if you're pausing?
Tijara.
Excellent. And the final example?
Bifahishatin. Oh, sorry. Bifahishatin.
Yeah. And if you're pausing?
Bifahisha.
Excellent. Well done. And could you tell me your ID once more, please?
A416.
So I'm going to pause you now. But very well read and good understanding of the rules. Well done. Let me just see if there are any questions. I don't understand some cases. Okay. Assalamu alaikum. N487. Which cases did you not understand in case 5?
Case 5.
Yeah. Which ones didn't you understand?
The ones that turn into vertical fathas, because I don't understand why they turn into vertical fathas.
Okay. Don't worry too much about why they turn into it. If it's easier, just remember whenever you have the fathatain, it will always be 2-second elongation. Okay. If it's difficult to remember exactly what the change is, don't worry too much. Just remember whenever you pause, it will be 2-second elongation. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, great. Jazakallah. So you are muted now. So we have come to the end of the class, and in tomorrow's lesson we'll continue covering these slides. Again, just a reminder, please carry on your revision of Surah Qaf, and we're going to end. I'm going to select N492, Assalamu alaikum. Could you help me with the final prayer before we leave?
Yes.
Okay, Jazakallah. So, are you confident to read it yourself?
I think so.
Okay, off you go.
Allahumma arhamni bil Qur'anil azim.
And the second one?
Waj'alhu li imaman wa nuran wa hudan wa rahmah.
Excellent. And the translation as well, please?
O Allah, have mercy on me through the great Quran and make it for me the leader, the light, the guidance and the mercy.
Okay, excellent. Very well read, Jazakallah. So, Jazakumullah to all students, and we'll continue with the revision in tomorrow's class, inshallah. So, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.